when it comes to gaslighting, when it comes to narcissism, where you're being emotionally manipulated, does it make any impact in why the woman or why the person actually sticks in an abusive relationship, in a physically or emotionally abusive relationship?
You know, I want you to think of a situation whereby it's a wedding. What is the norm? You find that the family from the lady's side, they're the ones to give the bed. And it's a way of telling you that, you know, you're no longer welcome, you
Yeah.
know, back home.
I don't know. Never been married before.
We go for the receptions, and
Okay.
we have seen this, you know. And you see, well, there's a lot of telltale, you know, during the whole ceremony. And, you know, mwanaume ni kudekezwa, mwanaume ni kuangaliwa vizuri.
Yeah.
But very few of them, you know, get to talk to this particular man. Okay. And you see, this tells you the kind of a society that you're living in. The man has been positioned in such a way that they believe they are so superior, you know, to the woman. Okay. And in a way, they tend to feel like they're the ones in charge of the relationship. They have the capacity to do whatever that they want. Okay. So when you talk about the gaslighting, you know, it would be a norm, you know, in a relationship, for this particular person to feel like, you know, anything that I say in this particular house, it is the ultimate truth, you know, and I can't even invite your own opinions, you know, to weigh in, you know, into whatever decision that you want to make. And you see, this will leave the other person, the other party, feeling so helpless. And in a similar scenario, it would be even the level of exposure, the level of education that we have. Some actually are well educated compared to the other person. And this is where we hear people talk about, mimi nimefika kampo, wewe ni form 4 dropout. Unaweza niambia namna gani? Okay, it could also be the position that we are holding at the workplace. You know, I'm a manager, and my wife is the CEO or secretary. You know, the different positions that you have, we actually contribute to a whole lot of all this.
And maybe, as you say that, how, because sometimes you find someone doesn't tell you directly, but there's the cheeky way in which you're convinced that whatever you're thinking is absolutely out of this world. Hakuna msi anaweza fikiria hivyo. How do they manipulate in that cheeky kind of way to convince you that your perception of reality is not actually real?
Yeah, and you'll be hearing a lot of, you know, those verbal communication, you know, being passed on to you, or even how they even conduct themselves. They don't have to entirely say it through their mouth. Probably you have given some suggestion, and for them, they just play it off, you know, for like, I don't think it will work for us, maybe next time, you know. They're not even apologetic, you know, when they're saying that. You're even trying to talk about the monies and all that. And for them, in a way, they're just telling you that your opinions are not invited, and you don't have the capacity to even share out, you know, talk about anything, talk about, you know, the well-being of this particular family, okay? And this will weigh someone down to a point whereby they feel so helpless, to a point whereby they believe that they can't. And this is what we are talking about, you know, when you take one who has been in a situation whereby the power has been taken away from them. They don't have control. They can't even be in a position to engage. And this is where you find that in most cases where there's no balance, you know, there's no authenticity into how you get to interact with one another, then that means even coming out probably amongst your friends, it would be very hard for you. So you find that the spouse, they're not willing to partake in those social encounters. Why? Because they feel belittled in such a way that they feel there's nothing good that can come out of them. So when you talk about the gaslighting and the narcissistic behavior, this actually contributes in such a big way. Why? Because the other person believes that all that I'm saying is the ultimate truth, and whatever you want to bring into the table, there's nothing. And this is where we say, if you're not on the table, you're not talking about a certain matter, then you're on the menu. And this is where we're saying that, yes, you're the one who has been, they're feeding on you. Why? Because your opinions are not being appreciated. Whatever you put in across, it's never considered in this particular relationship.
Yeah. And maybe just trying to understand, you know, when we talk about it from the narcissist perspective, from the person gaslighting the other person seriously to the point that unajisahau kabisa we ni nani, the person mwenye amejisahau anahitaji pia kuambiwa lolote. How would you talk to such kind of a person whose idea, perception of reality has totally been tampered with?
You know, as Kangod was speaking here, I remember the book I've read. It's called The Miseducation of the Negro.
Oh, that's why you were smirking.
The Miseducation of the Negro by a guy called Jimmy Carter, Dr. Jimmy, I think Jimmy Carter or somebody Carter. And this guy says, if you can make a person think that they're inferior and they belong to the back door, you don't have to take them there. They will go by themselves. Even if there is no back door, they will make one for themselves. So the issue is making somebody believe. And this now comes to what we're asking about the person who has been gaslighted or the person who has been just put in that position. You know, at first it begins as very innocent, you know, comments. You know, those just very passerby kind of comments are like, no.
Maybe for example?
No, for example, propose something. Let's say you're going to buy a car.
So I come tell you, by the way, I think we should now purchase this kind of a car because it's kind of affordable and within our price range. What do you think about it?
Yeah, and then you find the guy responds to you and tells you, you know, you don't know much about cars.
That's hard.
Yeah, or they may not even say outright. They will say, let's go and search. Already you brought the information, but then they're telling you, let's go and. Now they're telling you your information is not credible. In other words, let's go and search. When you do that search, or you bring something like this, and then they tell you, I had an idea of, and they're not opening it for discussion. I had an idea
like it's final.
It's final. You know, you have brought your opinion, but then it's not taken in. The other circumstances or events whereby somebody is not even talking to you, they're not doing anything, they will go and buy that car, come with it. They're going to buy a house. Go buy a house, they tell you you're relocating to this
Nile yenye mse, umekuja na opinion yako, lakini,
nobody cares.
Umesema, okay, and just do whatever I wanted to do in the first place.
Yeah, it goes like that. So for the person who is in that position, you have been placed in that position, you need to claim back your power. Number one, find your opinion. And then assert your opinion at the end of the day. You know, come out and speak your mind. Don't let, you know, your ideas be washed away, things be done to you. If there's somebody who is abusing you, they are beating you, seek for help. A third party may be. Seek to sit down and talk to them. And if they can't be talked to, then of course move out. Don't surrender your power.